What's up guys, James here with Fun Fact of the Day. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, learning lots and getting stuff done. Today, we are here to talk about trees. If you're watching this video, you've probably heard that there is a recent fundraiser put on by YouTubers named Mr.Beast and Mrbeast. And basically their goal was to plant 20 million trees. But they quickly found out that is very difficult to do by themselves, so they enlisted the help of a company called the Arbor Day Foundation, which, for every $1 donated, will plant one tree. And so, obviously then, their goal is to raise $20 million. And so my question was, and probably yours too, since you clicked on this video, is how big of an impact will 20 million new trees on Earth actually make? Will it help climate change? And if that sounds interesting to you, let's get into it. When we start talking about trees and CO2 emissions and climate change, we're specifically talking about the amount of CO2 put off into the atmosphere by us humans and the things that we do, like driving cars and burning coal and things like that. And as humans currently, we're putting out about 40 trillion kilograms of CO2 every year. I want you to keep that number in mind because we're going to be using it again. Now, don't worry. You don't have to do math. I will do all the math for you. Now, obviously, the goal was to reduce that number. So, fortunately, trees were given to us by Earth 370 million years ago to do exactly that. Trees use an extremely complicated chemical reaction involving the sun, water, and CO2 to basically suck the carbon out of the CO2 and give us just the O2, which is oxygen. Most of you have probably heard of this process because it's called photosynthesis. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail on how photosynthesis works exactly because there are 30-minute lecture videos all over YouTube about that exact process, and it would make this video really boring. But we will talk about exactly how much CO2 these trees actually absorb out of our atmosphere and how much that actually means to us. Like how many of our CO2 emissions personally is it going to help? So just how much CO2 does a tree actually suck up? Well, one tree on average sucks up about 5 kilograms of CO2 per year. It can be as much as 20 kilograms, but the average is much lower because, you know, baby trees are little twigs and giant trees are huge. So if you do the basic math and you divide the 40 trillion kilograms of CO2 that we produce every year by the 5 kilograms of CO2 that each tree sucks up every year, you'll find that we need about 8 trillion trees to suck up all of the CO2 that we as humans produce. Now, fortunately for us, there are already about 3 trillion trees on Earth, but that still leaves a lot of room to go. So we have 3 million trees, we need 8 trillion, that leaves 5 trillion trees, but where the heck would we plant them all? Well, unfortunately the Earth doesn't exactly have quite enough room to plant all of these trees. If you take a quick look at this picture of Earth right here, or this picture of flat Earth, if you're into that, you'll notice that there are a bunch of these tan and white areas all over the Earth that are called deserts and ice. And in case you didn't know, camels don't climb trees and penguins don't nest in them, most likely because there just aren't any trees in those areas. So, in reality, there's about half of Earth that we can plant trees on, and most of that area has trees on it. So, if we were to plant all 8 trillion of these trees, we would need a couple extra Earths to do that. But that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be more trees and that we shouldn't plant more, because we can definitely have more. It never hurts. So now the question remains, the reason you clicked on this video and the reason I made it, how much of an impact are these 20 million trees actually going to make? Well, if you do the basic math, 20 million trees times 5 kilograms of CO2 per tree ends up equaling about 100 million kilograms of CO2 absorbed every single year. If you break that down to a personal level, we as humans each produce in our daily lives of driving and accidentally leaving the lights on all night about 5,000 kilograms of CO2 each year, which means that planting these 20 million trees will actually completely cancel out the carbon footprints of 20,000 human beings on Earth, which is pretty darn crazy. And on top of that, it also creates a new environment for tons of animals and things like that to go on living. They also create shade, which reduces your need for, air conditioning and heaters and things like that. And then on top of that, they just look nice. So I'd say it's worth it to plant the trees. If you want to donate below, there is a link, and the more important link around here is this one, which is a link to all of my other videos. I would urge you to go click on it because it'll teach you everything you need to know about all sorts of random things that you didn't know you wanted to know about. Please like and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow, and I will see you soon.